Welcome everyone to this next Click Create Curator Spotlight. Today we have Neighborhood by Grant Yun. How does the theme inform people's experience of the art?
For this drop, I intentionally made sure that there were artists from a very wide spectrum of mediums. When I went about looking for the artists, I wanted to make sure that not only did their work resonate with myself, but I also wanted to pinpoint some of the best artists, in my opinion, from each subgenre and kind of bring them together. A few of those genres includes photography, illustration, and then of course the emerging generative art side and the AI side as well. All their art creates extremely compelling stories individually, and so I thought, why not bring these artists together and help construct a theme that revolves around this concept of a neighborhood.
How did you choose the artists involved with this collection?
The artists I picked, I felt as though each one of them brought something unique to the table. Each artist had a unique way about actually doing the illustrations and creating the art. It was really important for me to create a curated collection of artists from a very wide range of practices. We often compare different styles or different genres, and I often see, Twitter threads of why a particular medium is not art or is art, or why a particular medium is not highlighted. When people take a look back at this entire month, I want them to see that despite the mediums that artists use, there aren't so many differences as people might claim on the internet.
How does the art speak to the cultural moment we are living in?
Being an artist is probably one of the more important occupations in the world, personally. I don't say that lightly. I am in healthcare, and I understand that there are these emphases placed on particular occupations, whether that's status or the money that they bring in. It's really up to the artist to drive the narratives of the world, whether that's for good or for bad. And so I think at the end of the day, Web3 art, as it matures over the years and over the decades, will prove to be probably one of the more important movements centered around technological revolutions and crypto in general.
How does Nathan Bauman develop narratives?
When I picked Nathan for this drop, I just wanted to make sure that while there's interpretations of what a neighborhood could look like through generative art, through AI art, I wanted to also make sure that there was an artist who was able to showcase like an actual neighborhood through his photography. Personally speaking, photography is one of my favorite mediums through which art can be shown, and I identify as a photographer as well. And so when I see some photographers create photographs that gross me and they send me into a different world, and I feel as though when I take a look at Nathan Bauman's work on Super Rare, some of those kind of teleport you to a different place. And really important, I think, in his work is that he's showcasing the reality of the world, basically. I mean, a lot of his shots are very candid. A lot of his shots are places that are commonplace. And through his imagery, he's able to create these complex and very descriptive narratives without using any words, basically, just through the lens of his camera.
How does Willard create compelling images?
I wanted to pick a generative art artist for this drop, trying to merge different genres together to construct a cohesive narrative. And when I was going about looking for a generative artist, first thing I did was actually go to FX Hash. When I was going through some of those artists that I really liked, I immediately stumbled across Willard, and I just felt as though his outputs of his own homes and his houses and his own neighborhoods that he has kind of falls in line with how I wanted to construct this drop. I feel as though through his code, he's able to create very compelling images, and honestly, these are things that I personally could never do, and so I just felt that he was the perfect match for this drop.
How does nostalgia influence Tex Turner's art?
When I take a look at Tex Turner's work, it's almost as if I'm transported back to a different era of art. I think, the way he's able to construct his compositions through AI mediums, I think creates some of the most compelling compositions I've seen just on the internet, period. He kind of pulls on heartstrings in terms of nostalgia. He has an almost like painter-like style to his work, and I think that there is a very rich style behind the compositions he creates, and given that this is all AI and an emerging technology, I think it was really important to include some of his work into this drop.
How does Complex capture the imagination?
Complex is a master at still life and able to create these very cool images of things that might appear mundane and everyday. And I think from the very first moment I saw Complex's art on Super Rare a couple years ago, I knew that their work was going to be special and going to be important in Web3 one day, and it just took a matter of time. And there aren't too many artists on Web3 who are creating art exactly like they are. I think Complex's use of shadows and extremely solid colors and imageries of still life are something that capture my imagination personally as an artist. And so these are things and themes that I wanted to incorporate into the drop.
How does Sigma X's art fit the theme of neighborhood?
When I was looking to find artists for this drop, I wanted to make sure that there were artists who had a big range of compositions within a particular style. And I feel like Sigma X is able to showcase his style through a multitude of ways. His work to me, is personally nostalgic. It has this kind of painterly-like feel to it as well. And there's kind of a breadth of minimalism that I put into my own work personally. And so not only did I feel attached to it just, as an artist, but I just felt as though that the wide range of works that he's been putting out fit perfectly into our theme.
How is Palette Box's aesthetic and inspiration?
Actually, it was my fiance Dana who met Bianca online, and she introduced me to her, and I felt that she has an extremely well-constructed style. And if you go through her portfolio, you'll see that the illustrations that she creates are extremely beautiful. And I do think that her voice isn't as heard as much, and this shouldn't dictate the value of her art. Not only did she fit the themes that I wanted to go for in this collection, but I just felt as though that she is an amazing artist with a very unique style that people aren't talking enough about.